Hello guys, NautoAce here, and this will be a follow-up on my EVO 2024 announcement thoughts, specifically SNK versus Capcom SvC Chaos, the controversy behind it. So when the game came out on Switch on Saturday, the first thing they put up the screen is a disclaimer, and of course you got people who don't like that. It is a political thing, kind of show to some extent, yes, that the company themselves are not proud of what they did in the past, but at least they refuse to alter the game, because what you're seeing here right now, and yes, you just saw the boot up screen. Yes, I bought the game on the PS5 and nothing was changed. The gallery, the illustration from Nona and Shinkero, nothing changed. You can see cleavage on the original design. They did not modify it. The game itself is not modified. The text is not modified. So the game is unaltered. Yes, the downside to some extent is that they did not put in the promo art that was shown at EVO 2024. That's it. But the game is unaltered. So now people are still pissed because it's the principle. I get it. Like I said, I also hate censorship because 2018 to 2020, Sony ruined Idea Factory games. Super Neptunia RPG, Dragon Varnier, Data Live Radio Incarnation, and some other games. Even Senran Kagura Burst Renewal were forced modified by Sony. Even as of right now, there's a game, and unfortunately, the PlayStation 4 version, they had to remove some content because it's not to Sony standard. And I'm probably going to give my thoughts about that. I guess there is something new why the reason they're doing this. And apparently, a lot of these changes has been history since, well, 2001 with Halo 2, but that's a different story there. So anyway, back to the controversy for some for SNK versus Capcom Chaos. First of all, my opinion. Does it bother me? Not really. It's just a text. At least they did not change the game. And that's the most important part. Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection had that same disclaimer. And the game, even so, was improved. I think even the text design, not the text word, but the design was improved. They did not change everything. The text is the same as the GBA. Nothing was altered. And guess what? That game sold a lot. It sold good. It sold better. Capcom even said it themselves. Just leaving it out there. So for me personally, a disclaimer like that doesn't really bother me. As long as they don't change the game itself from its original. Yes, Tomb Raider Remastered. I don't know what Aspire is doing, but they rectified it to some extent. But again, I'm not into the Tomb Raider games, but I get the idea there. So with that said, like I said, the game itself is unaltered. The promo art is not in the game. So everything, in my opinion, is good. I played on the PS5, it's good. Now we're going to go to Code Mystic because they had addressed a lot of this thing. First of all, why did they put in the disclaimer? They said it themselves. They basically were told by someone. Who is that someone? Could it be SNK? Could it be Capcom? Who knows? Yeah, so a little bit of a side note, I'm going to respond to Mad Pixel, is that he was wondering, what does Capcom have to do with SNK versus Capcom SvC Chaos? Well, there are Capcom intellect property. If you don't know, if you're doing cross-promotion and you're using other people's IP, you have to be considerate, and once in a while, the other company might ask you to do something, and you can agree or not. And if you don't agree to some extent, they'll just say, well, we're not going to release this game, we're not going to make this game, or whatever. Case in point, people don't know is Senran Kagura Cross Neptunia Ninja War. So that game, if you don't know, is the cast from Neptunia crossover with Senran Kagura characters. The game did not have an English dub. You say, what's up with that? Neptunia game always have English dub. And I already showed a video about it, kind of explaining it. Links on the description box about that one. And former IFI community manager Zan Dragoon said that Marvelous requested for Idea Factory Compile Heart to not make the game with English dub, because since Senran Kagura characters has never been English dub, and again, former XC community manager Tom said due to legal action, and my guess, again, like I said, something to do at a time with Funimation, gotta use Funimation, union versus non-union, I don't know, and probably Funimation at the time wanted more money. Again, That's the reason why people are saying Capcom. Chances are Capcom might say, yeah, you're using our IP in this game. I know it's an old game in 2003, but still, we don't want you guys ruining the reputation of our IP, so we need you to do this, this, and that. Because, again, if you don't know about Capcom, another side note here, I do apologize to some extent, is if you remember the Capcom League that had Street Fighter 6, Resident Evil Village, and some other game, Monster Hunter, etc., 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 one of the league basically did say that some of the executive in Capcom Japan said maybe it's a good idea to be quote-unquote woke so we can make more money. That's rumored. It was on the leak. So they're trying to be the I factor. So that could be it. So that's why some people said it could be that Capcom questioned SNK to do that. That's the reason. So that's a response to Matt Pixel. So if you're wondering, well, what does Capcom have to do with this? There you go to some extent. So they were told, whoever it is, so no one knows right now. Code Mystic is not even going to say who it is, but they were told to put it in. Now, as for the text, what's the deal with the text and what's with the disclaimer? So the dialogue in some game, and I knew it, I had a feeling that that's something to do with the dialogue because, again, to compensate of the low quality game, you know it is, versus Capcom versus SNK 2, is the interaction between fighters. And some of them are things that you're probably not going to say it in modern time. In 2003, maybe. 2024 and beyond, probably not. So that's what they're saying. And again, that's what Code Mystic said. They said the reason now that they asked him to put it in is there are some dialogue that might not be appropriate in the modern times. Second, if you don't know the premise for this game, yes, it is fictional. I still believe that fictional things or character does not impact real life society. And if someone thinks it is, please get help. Please fix yourself. Anyway, there are some dialogue. Again, some of them may be questionable. The premise of the game, if you don't know, it takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where some fighter from Capcom and SNK were transported there. And there is some sort of order versus chaos situation in that world. So, first of all, think of it as sort of an isekai in a post-apocalyptic world, and some fighters from Street Fighter and King of Fighter end up going to that world. And you say, what's order and chaos? Well, Athena from, yes, the classic SNK arcade game Athena, she represents order. Red Amar, Firebrand, I don't know what his name is, the guy from Ghouls and Goblin, he represents chaos. And what Matt Pixel said, I'm just going to say here once, there are religious reference, yes. And you say, well, okay, I mean, something that's good, kind of makes sense for the element for the story. Yes. However, in modern times, sadly it may be, there are people in the community don't like when fictional things, games, book, whatever, uses that type of reference to gaming, to pop culture. That's why. So, again, they're just covering their base. Because why? Like I said it on Twitter. First of all, Red Amor stage. They call it the Demon World. What's another word for that? Heck. That's why. And you can even tell, like, it's red, it's creepy, it's like, I don't want to go there. It's like, it's so dark. Yeah, it's the Demon World. And by the way, yes, Ghost and Goblin has that stage, the Demon World. But again, for the people who don't know about Ghost and Goblin game, they're not into the video game, they might not know that. They might say, why are they showing a Demon World? Why are they showing heck in a video game? Again, they're just covering the base. At the same time, Athena's world is the celestial world, or in the game itself, according to the gallery, the holy world. So already that word there, that keyword, holy. Yes, holy can be anything. Holy fireball, holy beam, holy magic missile. Holy basically is another word for light. But again, for people who are not into the video game, they don't understand the use of the word holy. They might say, why are you using that? That's only used for going to church. Again, do apologize a bit if I'm being political, but like I said, this game has that reference. Again, the holy world. And not only that, Athena has a master, and it's the high one, the big man, you name it, you know what I'm talking about. And again, I'm going back to here. Let me repeat myself. For people who don't know, who are in the community, might not understand why that person there, why do they do this, why they kind of interpret this holy one, they might not like it. Again, the disclaimer is to cover their asses. That's why. Right there. Yes, the game itself, the premise, it's dark. Post-apocalyptic world, demon world, holy world, light and dark. Again, for me, it's an interesting concept for a fighting game. It's something different. But for people that are not in tune and saw this, they might say, oh, shoot, what is this? I don't like it. And again, Code Mystic said it himself. The game is unaltered, and yeah, I can tell you. And it's unaltered. It's the same as the rig version. So, for me personally, I'd rather have that disclaimer than altering the game. So, people might say, well, I want my kicking 82. Yeah, fair enough for this one. It's a business. It's their decision. And a lot of people say, make your own game, make your own rule, and there you go. They're just following rule. Code Mystic has nothing to do with all this disclaimer and stuff. So they basically said they were told to put in the disclaimer, and the disclaimer is, I knew it, I guessed it right, is that reference and some of the dialogue. Now, the last part here that a lot of people did eerie, and I'm like, it's just a trailer to something. I know the principle sucks, but again, I knew it that it was going to be a regulation issue. So for people who don't know, ever since 2019, trailers now on social media are now rated. And they rate it, and the rules, the standards are a bit different than the game itself because it's easy access, anybody can see it. And that's why sometimes the rule there is different than the game itself. So the thing that Code Mystic said was the keyword H-gate. So what does that mean? Well, there's a reason why the game has a rating board. So a parent can see that, say, oh, this game's M-rated, it's not for my kid. Then they have control because you can't see what it is until you boot up the game. Problem, something they're saying now that the design that you can see it on a box art or in a digital storefronts are a bit different. Why? Because people can see it, even kids, without an age gate. There's a reason why to some extent box art even have to be modified. An example I can tell you, and I showed this on Twitter, is Neptunia Reverse. They showed the cover, they're all covered up, and people said, what the heck? You know, I'm like, okay, I mean, that's weird. However, they rectified it by doing a reversible cover that's the original version based on the Japanese. Why is that? So in order to display it in store. Well, why can't they do that with just the regular art from Japan? They're not allowed to. It's regulation. Standard and practice it won't allow them because the concern is from parents is kid might see it. Another example for people who don't know is that Galgan Return for a while, believe it or not, was actually sold on retail, but then after a while they stopped restocking them and you can only buy them online. And somebody from GameStop admitted, they said that they had to put away the game because there were concerned parents. Even so, I think the design was toned down, but there were concerned parents that said, yeah, it looks like some sort of inappropriate for kids to look at. Even so, the game is M-rated. But again, like I said, cover art because anybody can see it. The content inside is age-gate because you have to buy the game. Again. So that's the reason why in the West, the art was censored. Probably regulation because, well, what's the rating for? Well, it's T. Well, kids also see it because, again, it's on YouTube. So they'll tone it down. Say, well, why not just leave it as in the Japanese? Well, in the case of YouTube, maybe it might be age restricted. You're going to have those concerned parents might report, oh, this picture is inappropriate for teens, even so it's okay in Japan. But again, one of the rules here, this always been an old rule, and you got to give credit to Adam Sessler, I know, is that what's good in Japan does not always be good in the West. Cultural differences regional differences. Remember, Nintendo in the past, they were very safe. One of the rules is that they can't have any political reference in their game. They have to be modified. And some of the games also, even so it's T rating, whatever. Remember, there was no age limit. So they were concerned about some of the games that's not appropriate for kid. Night Trap, remember, the game first came out, had no rating. And concerned parents said, put it away. My kid can get this game, and I don't want my kid playing it because there was no ESRB at the time yet. Again. So the reason why in the West the art was censored, it's a regulation. I knew there was something like that. Persona 3 Reload did that. There was an Althea Rising game, they did that. Tecmo Koei even addressed, they said, yes, that's only in the promotional video. It is not in the game itself. They have to do it because kids can see it without an age gate. That's the thing. Anybody can access it. That's why on my Twitter also I showed a picture of the PS5 version storefront. Yeah, it's a censor. Why? They were concerned probably kids can see it. Say, well, I want that art in the game. Yeah, maybe Code Mystic can do it in the long run. They're looking into it right now because from what I understand, what happened is they probably were just doing to some extent the bare minimum because they got to make sure the game sells. So if you want this game to improve in the long run, quality of life, let Code Mystic know. I mean, one of the problems is limited continue. Apparently that's an AES thing. Apparently that's what they were using rather than the NVS. For me personally, I want the PS2 version because the better graphics. We'll just have to wait and see. And again, no survival mode. The PS2 version there is. Probably the biggest one here is online and arcade mode. But I know some of their older games, the Last Blade has like time attack mode and like that. So you just have to wait and see. Maybe they'll add that. And maybe they'll add more in the gallery. Just saying there. But right now, it's $20. I mean, the old, like King of Fighter 98 Ultimate Match and King of Fighter 2002 Unlimited Match was $20 at launch. And then within months, it went down in price. Just saying there. So I wouldn't be surprised if this game within 6 to a year is going to have a price drop or a sale. But for me, the reason I bought it at full price, I want to support SNK. I want them to make more Capcom versus SNK or whatever. And like I said before on the previous video, that Ben Herman, Kawasaki, Playmore ruined the SNK PlayStation fan in 2005 due to price issue. That's really the reason. Some people said, it's legality or they're not allowed to. No, it's to some extent, it's already been confirmed to some extent that PlayStation know that the audience will not pay a full price for a 2D game at 2005. So that's the reason why Kawasaki was trying to prove them wrong. Didn't really work. That's why in 2007, they were selling the PS2 SNK game for $15. Since at the time it was backwards compatible with the PS3. Now they're considered a download game, a smaller game, a PSN Xbox game. You know what I mean? So that's why, again, they might improve it. They might add in the new art in the game. But there you go. So I do apologize if I'm rambling for 20 minutes. But it is a lot of important stuff that what Code Mystic addressed. So for me, my thoughts, the disclaimer, not a big deal for me. I had a feeling it was because of the reference in the game and the dialogue. As for the art on YouTube or on social media, that's just a promotional video. They have to be regulated. Like it, hate it, go blame the government. I don't know. So, like I said, that art's not even in the game. Just saying there. So, for me personally, I'm okay with the situation. The disclaimer does not bother me. Yeah, if they're not proud of what they did in the past, that's their call. I don't know why, but they probably have their reason. I'm not going to touch it. It's none of my damn business about it. So there you go. Yeah, censorship sucks. I'm with you with that one. The political crap, it sucks. But the way I see it here to some extent, and even Mad Pixel saying is, SNK probably just want to cover their ass. So if someone complains, this game is appropriate for teenagers. Okay, disclaimer. Don't get the game. There's a disclaimer. And you can skip it. That's what they said. Oh, well, have an option to not put it in there via option. Okay, well, go tell Code Mystic. Tell them that. Oh, jeez. Yeah. See, this is the problem now because to some extent, this is what I call it, that a lot of this situation is getting into my face. And it's annoying. Knock it off. Apologies. So there you go. The follow-up on the Code Mystic, the situation. Can't blame Code Mystic about it. Whoever made the decision, SNK, Capcom, go write a letter. It is what it is. Yeah, to some extent, it is tiring. It is starting to get irritating. It is what it is. Again, I don't know what to say anymore. Anyway, with that, I'll see you guys later.